Hello guys and welcome to Football and F1 show. Today I'm gonna review the Belgian Grand Prix and not much to talk about for the football news. But let's get started. Let's just go straight into it. Formula One, the Belgian Grand Prix, as Oscar Piastri wins the race. But before the race, it was gonna be almost like similar to 2021 Spa, where it was raining, and then drivers like Lando Norris and were, let's say, complaining, and then they couldn't see the safety car, etc. And there was a problem with the visibility. And I understand why they did that. I understand at the same time. I understand why they stopped the race. They delayed the start. They delayed the race, and they delayed because there was the safety car for the first 3-4 laps. I understand it, but at the same time, like, when you hear quotes like Max Verstappen saying that it just ruins a nice classic wet race. We either try to push for a proper wet race, or we just stop racing in the wet, or wait for it to be dry. It's a shame for everyone. Listen, he's saying that it feels like he feels like F1 is losing the chance for classic wet races, and we've had a couple of wet races this season, Australia, Silverstone, Miami Sprint, but I also kind of agree with him, because why it seems like the FIA and Formula One, they are like they were a bit cautious. They were trying to delaying it as much as possible. They delayed it as much everything as they can, and in my opinion, I don't think it's I understand why they did that, because obviously you want to take care of everybody. You want to avoid some horrific crashes, for example, etc. And it's a long track in Belgium as well. Let's not forget, it's a long track. It's not like it's a short track, and it's yeah, there's rain, but it's a short track. It's a long track, and so I understand why they did that. But I also understand Verstappen's frustration that it ruins a classical wet race. It ruins the chance for drivers like young, especially rookies, young drivers coming up like Antonelli and Hajar, to learn the chance to learn their skills of driving in wet races. And so I think I kind of understand it. I kind of understand Verstappen's point, but also I understand why the FIA tried to, let's say, delay the start and stop the race. They stopped the race at start because of there was a problem with the visibility, etc. So yeah, but I also agree with Verstappen. I'm kind of in both sides. Maybe I'm a bit too cautious as well as I was there with the FIA, but like, I feel like maybe they were delaying it as much as possible. They delayed it too much. Okay, like for 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, but they delayed it for too long, in my opinion. And yeah, like, if you're gonna cause a red flag, okay, then let them race after that. Like, let them okay, when the red flag finishes, okay, safety car comes in, then one lap, and that's it. Move on. After one lap, that's it. And we don't have to waste another 3-4 laps, because that's what the FIA and safety car did. They delayed the start for 4 laps. You want to delay the start? Okay, do it for 1 lap, and that's it. You don't have to do it again and again. But I also understand, because it's a long track. If it was like other track, like let's say Interlagos, etc., then I would have a problem with it. But because it's a long track, like Spa is probably the longest track in Formula One, and to be honest, I understand why they make a rotation for it. I don't like that they make a rotation for the track of Spa, but I understand why they don't keep it for every single calendar. But yeah, but then the delay start finished, and then Oscar Piastri went past Lando Norris. According to Zach Brown, the key reason to why Piastri passed Norris was because there was a battery issue on Lando Norris's car. So yeah, that's why it happened, and that's why it was the reason that Oscar Piastri won the race. Um, I think. Listen, I think if you look at the overtake, it was. I don't. I wouldn't say Lando Norris fall asleep because I don't think he fall asleep, but I would say he made it too easy for Oscar to overtake. And listen, in that slipstream in Belgium, that turn three, it's very dangerous. I mean, you've seen a couple of races where a driver starts second and he overtakes in that turn. You know, Sebastian Vettel against Hamilton years ago, Max Verstappen in a sprint, and now it happened again. Maybe you should always start at P2 in Belgium. But yeah, like, I felt like Lando maybe, let's say, made it too easy for him to overtake. But maybe it was also because you could also say because of the battery issue. But despite that, you have to also give credit to Oscar. He made a good overtake. He went for the medium tire strategy, and also Norris went on the hard tire strategy. And by the way, I heard people say that why didn't McLaren make a double stack pit stop? Well, it's because Oscar was, let's say, wanted the medium tire, whereas Lando wanted the hard tire. So, like, it's not like the same choice of tires. It's not like the same choice of tires. They want different, they wanted different tire strategies. These two, and listen, if people are treating like it's just so easy to make a double stack pit stop, it's not. It's not. It clearly is not. And they say, oh, why did Oscar Piastri pit first? Well, they always, McLaren do always do it. Let's be honest, McLaren, they are trying as much as they can to make Piastri and Norris like far away. They don't want them. They don't want them to fight for many times. They try to pull them away from each other. Listen, it's not like that. Piastri and Norris has bad blood or something, but for the team, for Andrea Stella, etc., they don't want any, let's say, potential drama. They don't want to take any risk. They're just like, okay, we just want an easy 1-2, try to pull away from each other. They did in Austria. They did in Austria, and they pitted Lando first because he was the leading car, and then 3-4 laps after that they pulled for Oscar. They did the same thing, but it was the opposite. So, as much as we want to make excuses for Lando because he had a better issue, you have to also say, in this kind of races, it's so important to let's say, get the preferential treatment from McLaren, because if you are leading in the first 10-15 laps, then you will get the preferential treatment in the pit stops. But if you don't deliver, and if you're not the leading car, then you're not gonna get favored. Let's be honest. So that's what McLaren have done. They try to pull away from each other. They don't want them to fight. They don't want both of these two to fight. They don't want to take unnecessary risks, which I don't like it. I don't like it. Listen, I'm an Oscar fan, but I don't like this. In general, I'm a neutral fan, and I don't like this. I think these two we would like to see these two fight. And yes, Oscar passed Lando, but the gap in the difference before the pit stops was like 1.5 seconds, 1 second. And so it was still on, and yet they made the pit stops and they pulled away from each other, and they gave another lap for Lando to think. Well, and listen, making a double stack pit stop, it's not easy, okay, but at the same time, when you see the pit stop of Lando, that was a bad pit stop, bad. The left tire. The guy that was a similar pit stop they made for him in Silverstone, and that was a similar mistake. So I think McLaren, people in the pit stop should try to, avoid this mistake, because it's not the first time they made this mistake, especially for Lando Norris's car, and it ended up costing the win. Yes, they got the pit crew a bit lucky because Lando went on to win that race still, but this time you could say it costed him the win, but you also have to say Lando made mistakes as well. Like he went for the hard tire strategy, which was the right thing, because in Belgium the hard tire strategy is better than the medium tire. So Lando was correct in that one. But I felt like, let's say, I felt like that the pit stop for Norris was not great, and then when Norris came out of the pit, it was like 9 seconds. And no, but Norris started closing and closing and closing from 9 seconds to 3.5 seconds with or 2.5 seconds with a couple of laps to go. But he made a couple of mistakes, made a lockup, and he went off the track. Yeah, he went off the track, and he made a lockup. Listen, that lockup I don't count because there was not like many laps to go. There was not many laps to go for that sense. Like it was like three laps to go, and the gap was like 4 seconds, and it was almost going to be impossible. But he made that lockup, which lost him like 2 seconds over Piastri. So that's why maybe that was the reason. And yeah, no, that's probably what lost Lando Norris the race, is that he made some mistakes in that, which lost him some seconds behind Oscar Piastri. I think Oscar deserved to win. He drove really well. It was a very good performance for him. He didn't do mistakes. He made a good overtake on Lando, even though Lando had that battery issue. So, people say that if Lando didn't have that battery issue, Lando would have won that race. Maybe, but we don't know. We don't know. I mean, maybe there was maybe that overtake from Oscar and Lando. Maybe it wasn't related to the battery issue. Maybe it was related to, Oscar's brilliant overtake, or maybe you could say Lando maybe made it too easy for him. So, yeah. But nonetheless, I think Oscar performed really well. He had a very good performance, very good race, deserved to win. Yes, he got a bit, let's say, lucky a bit with the battery issue of Lando and the bad pit stop from Lando's point. But this is something that Oscar cannot control. So he did his job. He didn't do mistakes, whereas Lando made a mistake when he went off the track. So, and Oscar did the job at first by overtaking him, so he took advantage of it. So first position Oscar, second position Lando. The gap is now between them 16 points. Oscar has a good lead, but obviously Hungary is still coming up. So it's a track. I think it's a track that McLaren should easily dominate. I mean, I said before the before the predictions that it's a track that McLaren might struggle. Well, that did really age well, didn't it? But the gap is now 16 points, and for Hungary, I think Lando has to win. He has to win, because if Oscar wins, it could be like 23, 25 points difference, which is almost like the total points of a race victory. So that next race coming up, Lando has to win and has to finish above Oscar. Otherwise, if Oscar wins again, it's gonna give Oscar more a better chance of winning the championship. Third position, I'm gonna now end the video because I want to talk about something else.